Hello, my name is Dr. Nadav, and I'm an Africologist. I'm a professor in the Department of Africology at Temple University, where the first PhD in African American Studies was created by the great Dr. Asante 40 years ago. I've written 3 books published by Dr. Ayo Sakai for the Universal Right Publications, UWP. My first book, The Afrocentric School, A Blueprint, is based on research carried out in West Africa on the skills level of children from the ages of 3 to 15. There were probably about 1,200 parents, most of whom were mothers, who took part in this baseline study, and I was a senior consultant. The findings showed the expectations of the children at ages between 3 to 15. And the book is based on these skills ranges. And it's actually a book with curriculum lesson plans in it that offers a blueprint in the way that you can build upon that for each of the age groups. And so it's very useful because it's based on knowledge and truth of what children should know about the history of humanity. And so the skills levels match the age levels. On the front page, this is the book, and on the front page, you can see an ancient Egyptian or Kemetic picture of the Judgment Day, the weighing of the heart. And I've used this to show that we're using the oldest principle of ethical and moral behavior as a guideline for the book, and trying to teach the children that the oldest principles and moral and ethical ideas came out of Africa thousands of years ago. So the book is about African history, about human history. And so it's based on teachings for our children. And the people who may use this book or could find use for it are teachers, homeschool parents, teachers in public schools, as well as African schools or Black schools, and students of education. So it's a very useful book in that way. And it's not rigid either. So if you find that your children know more than their age, than their age development in the book, then you can just go to what suits them, and vice versa. So it can be used in a myriad of ways. And it is a popular book, and I'm hoping that you will be attracted to it. I'm very proud of UWP actually publishing it, because they are a publishing company that deal with truth and the kinds of materials that many publishers would not become involved in. After all, we live in a race paradigm, a structure this book challenges, because it's a falsehood and not real. And most books prescribe to maintaining the race paradigm and keeping us all divided and limited in what we're allowed to think. And this book opens up the boundaries, goes over the boundaries prescribed in so-called education, and enables all children really can use this book if parents and teachers are interested in their children learning truth. My next book is co-authored by Dr. Asante, who created the Department of Africology at Temple University and the theory and paradigm of Afrocentricity. So I'm so honored that he asked me to write a book with him, and it's called Being Human Being. And it's a book that looks again at the history of humanity and looks at the constraints and limitations of pursuing the race paradigm, which is just a belief. It's a cultural belief, and it is reflected in all the institutions in the societies of any cultural group. But the race structure is fairly new. Perhaps we find evidence of it about 3,000 years ago, and people have been on this planet for thousands of years, creating systems and civilizations with moral orders, much of which has been hidden from us. So we actually look at how the construction of race and patriarchy impose limitations on our lives, where we believe that some people are inferior or superior based on the melanin content of the skin. And we believe that biologically women are inferior. So when we put these things together, we see a very divided world and quite a sick world. And unfortunately, we've been coerced through violence and murder and genocide to believe that the race paradigm is true. But this book challenges that, looks at the construction of it, its impact on people's lives, and seeks to dismantle the belief in this structure because of it's untrue. It's an untrue belief, but also the damage, the people that have died, the people that continue to die, the people who are imposing these ideas, what they have to gain, and so on. So I think you would find that an interesting book. And then the third book is called Teaching Teachers, the Afrocentric Model. And this book is really a handbook to the Afrocentric school, a blueprint, which is very helpful because it's not, we want teachers to really understand that there is a whole missing understanding of humanity, and the Afrocentric school is based on a chronology of human history. And so the handbook, the Teaching Teachers, the Afrocentric model, is really going to show missing elements that are not in what we call education in the schools. So public school teachers, students of education, parents who wish to homeschool their children, parents whose children attend public school but want to insert and include truth and ideas pertaining to the children's cultural identity and who they are, will be interested in this book, and also those who are teaching Black children in independent Black education institutions and Afrocentric and African-centered education institutions. So it's an all-round book that will be very useful to anyone who wishes to become a teacher and those who are already teachers. So my hope is that you get to understand Afrocentric theory more easily and can apply that to your own works, own lesson plan, own ideas, and how to teach children actually who they are, the history of who they are, the cultural orientation that they practice, that they have choices, that they don't have to follow a cultural orientation that debases them, and that there are cultural orientations that uplift our humanity, no matter what phenotype we are. So I'm pleased to have my books considered to be worthy of publishing by UWP, and I thank Dr. Ayo Sakai for believing in me and publishing my books. So thank you, and I will leave you with that. Take care. Blessings.